This video is my 18-month overview of my RockPals 500 portable power station. This power station has two AC outlets with a combined continuous output of 500 watts. It also has three standard USB inputs and one USB-C input. And the socket that I use the most is the DC unregulated 12-volt outlet to power my mini fridge. Over the last 18 months, I have powered some pretty crazy things, including this crock pot to keep food warm at a picnic. I purchased the RockPals 500 in October of 2019 in preparation for a trip I was going to take in my minivan. At the time, the RockPals 500 was just about the cheapest 500 watt power station on the market because of the nearly $125 in coupons, coming out to a grand total of about $400 after taxes. Here is some superficial rubbing on the back surface from where the RockPals rubs around in my van. The top surface also has some rubbing on it from where I would rest a spare battery while traveling. I think the front has the most cosmetic imperfections, but this is also from rubbing while sitting inside of my van moving around. Of all the cables that came with the RockPals 500, the only one that is still serviceable is the AC power adapter. After heavy use, I've replaced the MC4 cable 3 times, and I keep a spare with me. Here's where the RockPals 500 sits in the back of my Toyota Sienna when I'm traveling. The DC charging cable that came with the RockPals 500 wasn't very useful, so I ended up getting this 100 watt inverter, and I just use the AC charging cable when I want to charge and I don't have access to solar power. One of my main uses for the RockPals is to keep my Alpa-Cool mini fridge running when I'm out traveling. The DC outlet is not regulated, and so my refrigerator will shut off once it hits around 49%. Check out my other video to see an easy way to overcome this low voltage issue with a voltage converter. Take a second to scroll down and click subscribe. It doesn't cost anything and it will help my channel grow. In my voltage video, you can also see a few other ways to use the AC inverter from the RockPals. Over the last couple of months, I have been thinking about going off-grid again, at least for some travels over the summer. And the decision that I've come to is, do I want more power, maybe a bigger power station? What I've decided to do is get a few of these smaller power stations. That way I have a little bit more modularity and mobility if I want to charge them or move them around or use them to power different things in different places. Here I'm going to open up the top of the RockPals to show you 3 fuses and a reset switch. I have never had to use these fuses or this reset switch, so while I'm opening this RockPals, if you didn't do it already, click the subscribe button below. On the left you can see the 3 30 amp fuses, and here on the right you can see the little reset button. I'm actually not sure what it does because I've never had to use it, but it's there. As I get this put together, I can tell you a little bit of how I've used it over the last 18 months. When I first purchased it, I decided to go off-grid for a 3-month period while I was living in California, mainly because I didn't want to pay the high cost of rent there. And I bought this to use with my Alpa-Cool mini fridge, and the combination, I believe, worked very well. During the time that I had this set up in the minivan, I had a 100 watt solar panel, and I pretty much used this to keep a food supply as I was out traveling through California. There was about a 2-week period when I was in Northern California. I think it was late November, early December, where it rained almost the whole time, and that's when I started to use the 100 watt inverter as I was traveling so that I could keep the RockPals charged up. I am considering getting the new RockPals 500 to supplement my system, and one of the big issues that buyers have with it is they say that it doesn't support pass-through charging. However, I've seen that it may allow you to run your 12-volt DC output while you are charging with a solar panel. So I want to check that out and see how that works.